You might have seen calls for DR2, maybe with a 10 or a 7, followed shortly after in Alliance and Corporation chat in EVE Echoes. But what exactly is this callout that you're seeing? This is for forming a fleet to participate in the Dormant realm known as Before the Abyss, otherwise known as DR2, as it is the second Dormant realm to choose from in the selection screen. It is also the most popular one due to the speed at which it can be completed, especially by T10 pilots. So what exactly is this Dormant realm? How do I take part? And what ships do I need? Oh, and where is that subscribe button? As with all Dormant realms, you enter them from within the station environment with a fleet of up to 4 people and may choose a difficulty level ranging from 1 all the way up to 10. Once inside, you'll spawn within 5 kilometers of your teammates in the center of the map. After a few seconds, enemy NPCs and towers will spawn all around you. These towers, named Storm Jammer Towers with numbers before each name to help identify them, will spawn between 25 and 65 kilometers away from your starting location. The objective of the scenario is to destroy each of these towers before your own fleet is destroyed. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, there is a little bit more to it. Each time a tower is destroyed, more ships will spawn. At the start of the run, the towers have shield extenders for extra tank, and after destroying a tower, the more dangerous NPCs known as hibernators spawn. Oh, and if you take too long clearing the towers, they get another shield extender. I have not observed the exact time in the recording of this video, however I believe it to be somewhere around 5 minutes into the scenario that they get these shield extenders. So let's get into the basics so you and your friends can jump right on into this Dormant realm. Firstly is fleet composition. You will need 3 ships with the role of DPS, that is damage per second, and 1 ship to act as the Guardian to tank the brunt of the damage. Most commonly, this takes the form of 3 Apocalypse class battleships, either the Strikers or more recently the Navy issues, and 1 Nightmare. But other ships' hulls have been used successfully, as you will see in the background video. So the Nightmare pilot uses a small shield field module to shield the DPS providing pilots. A larger module is not recommended, as the enemy NPCs inside of the bubble itself will be able to ignore its effect and shoot directly the DPS pilots. Therefore you want to minimise the number of enemy NPCs that are inside of your bubble. The remaining mid slots and low slots are all geared towards shield tanking and making it stay up as long as possible. So why are we protecting the DPS pilots? Well, that's because the low slots are mostly, and I say mostly here, geared towards damage. In the example on screen, the Apocalypse Navy issue is running 5 heat sinks and 1 tracking computer for a level 10 Dormant realm. Although I highly recommend that you fit a shield booster and hardener for your first few runs until you and your team are comfortable with the scenario itself. You'll also notice that for the mid slots, the Apocalypse is sporting 4 Mark 9 large group shield boosters. Throughout the scenario, the DPS the ships will be tanking from any NPCs that get under the bubble, in addition to the sheer amount of damage that the Nightmare pilot will be taking. These group shield boosters help keep the DPS ship's shields healthy, whilst contributing even more to the Nightmare's tank, which is the more important effect here. In higher difficulty realms, these group shield boosters are a necessity to ensure that Nightmare stays alive. If that Nightmare goes down, so do the DPS pilots, and more often than not, you'll find that the Nightmare is integrated, so you don't want the integrated Nightmares to go down once you're in the higher levels. Now, to talk about weapons, as I stated earlier on that the towers spawn between 25 and 65 kilometers from your starting location all around you, so you need to ensure that your weapons can hit well past 65 kilometers. Why past 65 kilometers, do you say? Well, that's because of the E-War that's applied by all of the NPCs, which includes tracking disruption. Not all of the participants need this range, however. as there are 3 towers at short range and 3 towers at long range as seen in the video. In the example video, 2 ships, including the Nightmare, are providing the short range DPS, whilst the other 2 ships provide the longer range DPS. You're going to be static throughout the whole run, so make sure that the striker mode is activated if you have it on your ship, and disable the following settings, preferably before going in. Those are auto orbit and auto lockback. Trust me. If running laser based ships such as the Apocalypse, then the focus crystal implant is highly recommended because you will be shooting at a static object, so every shot will be dealing more damage. So that's all of the prep work out of the way. So you've got a fleet together, ships fitted, auto orbit turned off. Let's get into the realm. It's usually after this point that the Nightmare pilot realises they haven't got a bubble for whatever reason, in which case there is a Stargate within range of the spawn location for an emergency escape. That may or may not have happened to a few of us in game. I know it's happened to my fleets on a couple of occasions. So first things first, everyone's activated their mid slots and any shield hardeners. In the case of the large group shield boosters, stagger these where possible just to spread out the benefit, then ensure that the striker mode is on where applicable. Next up, change your overview settings, that is the drop down button, from all to vital target, and wait for the towers to spawn, lock them up and shoot them. Once your target gets into hull, switch your weapons over to another target that has significantly more health. Don't destroy it yet. Remember, more NPCs spawn when the tower goes down. Once they're all on low health, say around half hull to start with, start knocking them down. And job's a good one, you have just completed the realm. Now rinse and repeat 5 more times to get your weekly allowance in, and maybe up the difficulty level little by little until you start to struggle. And that about sums up the Dormant realm before the Abyss. What did I miss? Well, I know I must have missed something, right? Comment below and I'll be sure to include it in any future videos that I do covering this topic, so stay tuned and subscribe. Until then, fly with a bang!